Alright, so, finally got my hands on Hidden Agenda. Now, this is from the makers of Until Dawn, and this is a cool game because it has a kind of a same gameplay, but a whole fresh new spin to it. But regardless, let's see. Is this game fun? But most importantly, is it worth the money? Well, actually, I won't be needing this. Let's find out. Alright, to start things off, let's focus on the aesthetic. And well, this is a detective story. It checks all the boxes of a gritty neo-noir crime thriller, and definitely leans more on the side of Fincher's Seven than a buddy cop movie, something like Lethal Weapon. Every scene is dark, dreary, and definitely brings home the feeling that anything can go wrong at any moment. The graphics are amazing, and every actor, not character, actor, does an amazing job here. At times, I completely forgot that I was playing a game, and I thought I was just watching a movie with real people. Besides that, the sound is perfect, the soundtrack is great, and the sound effects are utilized perfectly, either to build suspense or give the scene a distinct tone. Overall, the aesthetic is stunning. It emulates a genre movie, because frankly, it is just that, a genre movie, disguised as an interactive game. Which is a perfect segue to the gameplay. Now for those of you who are unacquainted with Until Dawn, I'll keep it brief. It's essentially a choose-your-own-adventure style game where the game has tons of branching paths and you either must decide on what to do or say to progress the story. Now, why do I mention Until Dawn? Well, other than Hidden Agenda being made by the same developer, it's essentially the same game. Only this time around, the focus of the overall gameplay has shifted drastically. In Until Dawn, there were moments where you could walk around areas as each character and discover things on your own. Well, that's not the case here. Here, it's strictly choose dialogue options and quicktime events. That is pretty much it, which honestly sounds kind of bad considering it's a spiritual sequel, and it seems to just dumb everything down. Well, there is a reason to this, and that is the fact that the main focus here is now multiplayer. Until Dawn in its own right was a great party game. Many people could just sit around and decide on how to move the plot along. But the only issue was there was only one person who ultimately controlled the outcome, because there was only one controller. Well here, thanks to a phone app called PlayLink, up to 6 players can now join in on the fun. Each with their own device, they can now vote on what happens next. And of course, whichever option gets the most votes, happens. But in some cases, the game forces you to agree unanimously, which definitely opens up the room for arguments, which is honestly kind of fun. Yes, this is pretty much a gimmick, but here it works perfectly. Now, this may be an issue for some. This game can only be played through an app. No controller can be used in-game, other than pausing or going to the settings menu, which honestly kind of sucks, especially seeing how integral the DualShock was in Until Dawn. But what PlayLink lacks in control, it makes up for in a variety of different ways, especially story progression. Remember, this is a detective story, so I will not spoil anything, do not worry. But since there are multiple branching paths, the accompanying app gives you control of what you want to look back on. It has character biographies, clues to who the culprit is, and a list of the ripple events that affect the timeline of the story. There are multiple endings here, so this definitely warrants multiple playthroughs, especially if you play in competitive mode. In this mode, periodically, one player gets a hidden agenda, where they are given a specific action to complete by the end of a scene. Also before the end of the scene, everyone else gets to guess on who is the player with the hidden agenda. By the end, if you complete your agenda, or choose the person who had it correctly, you get points. Now in the end, this makes the game feel like a board game more than anything. And honestly, with the group I played, we stopped caring about the points altogether, because all they essentially added up to was bragging rights. Having said that though, even if we didn't care about the points, it still added a layer of uncertainty to the game. Not only were you uncertain of the events in the game, your lack of trust now manifested itself in the real world, which honestly, I felt was a nice touch. Alright, onto my final thoughts. Just like Until Dawn, it's a technical marvel in the graphics department, and the art designers don't allow that to go to waste. They craft a gritty and realistic world around a complex story, and it's just absolutely breathtaking with what they can do with CGI nowadays. But most importantly, the gameplay here is the real winner. As a single player experience, it's definitely a much more watered down experience than Until Dawn, and leaves much to be desired. But thankfully, that desire is satisfied by the multiplayer experience, and in this capacity, it has become an essential party game for any PS4 owner. Well, that's the review. And now, let's get to the most important question. Is it worth the money? And at retail, $20? Yeah, I'd say it's definitely worth it. I mean, for the same price as 2 movie tickets, or actually less now, this is definitely worth it. Granted, this game, or the whole story, is very short. My first playthrough, I beat it in about 2 hours. But granted, that was only one ending. This game comes with tons and tons of endings, tons of branching paths, which just requires you to play it multiple times. And that's just the single player. Again, multiplayer is a whole different, a whole different beast by itself. And as a party game, it is just fun and fantastic. And even if you already know the plot, you can easily just play the game after the fact and just mess with your friends. This is a great game. And even if you don't want to buy it, I definitely recommend renting this. Because again, it's only 2 hours long. But, well, even if you do beat it in those 2 hours and you happen to get the best ending, there's still an off chance that you might want to learn more and want to see more of the story. Which is why I say this is definitely a must buy. Because for 20 bucks, this is a great experience chock full of just tons and tons of goodies. Regardless, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.